Okay, let's unpack this. Eulogy, the episode from Black Mirror season 7. Wow. Paul Giamatti, Patsy Farron.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it hit differently, didn't it?
It really did. Less about the usual tech shock we expect from Black Mirror sometimes.
Right. More about that kind of knot in your stomach.
Yeah.
Revisiting old hurts.
Exactly. And what's so clever is how it uses that Black Mirror premise technology mediating our lives, but to explore something really fundamentally human.
Like memory and grief.
Yeah, memory, grief, the stories we tell ourselves, especially about past relationships, it's all in there.
So we meet Philip. Giamatti is just brilliant, so quiet and contained.
Mm-hmm. Very isolated figure.
And he gets this news, his ex-girlfriend Carol has died. Then the slightly odd request.
Well, help with the memorial, yeah. Using this eulogy tech.
Which is classic Black Mirror, right? Technology getting right into our most personal spaces.
Totally. And this one uses old photos, actual physical photos, to build a eulogy experience.
But the immediate problem, the thing that grabs you, is Philip only had 3 Polaroids left.
And why is that?
Because he essentially tried to erase her, vandalized all the photos after they broke up. He can't even really picture her face anymore.
Which is just, oh, wow. So that sets up this whole journey, doesn't it? Into his memories.
Yeah, this immersive trip using just those 3 photos and an AI guide.
And the guide is modeled on Carol's daughter, Kelly. Both played fantastically by Patsy Farron.
It immediately throws up questions about memory, right? How reliable is his version of events?
Absolutely. His memories are clearly filtered through years and years of resentment.
And the guide, drawing on Kelly's knowledge, offers this counterpoint, often a very different view.
We see that straight away, don't we? That Halloween party in '91.
Oh, yeah. His memory is Carol just hanging out all night with some guy in a devil costume.
While he's feeling neglected, talking to his colleague, Emma.
But the guide sort of gently pushes back. So Carol actually looked like she was trying to get away from the devil guy.
Mm.
And Philip eventually kind of admits he might have exaggerated things over the years.
And that's such a key insight into how memory works, isn't it? We filter things. We reshape them, maybe unconsciously, to fit how we feel now.
Or to justify things.
Right. To justify past feelings or actions. It wasn't maybe a deliberate lie in his head, but his memory shifted to reinforce his own narrative.
So painting Carol as distant at the party maybe made him feel better about feeling neglected himself.
Precisely. Then there's the whole thing about her moving to London for the orchestra job.
You remembers it happening right after this big fight.
Mm.
Like it was a direct result, a punishment almost.
But the guide hints, and you start to wonder, was it really that simple? Were there other things going on?
Underlying issues? Her own career ambitions.
Things that maybe weren't spoken about. The fight might just be the anchor point in his memory, but her reasons could have been much more complex, independent of him even.
And we also see Philip cheating with Emma.
Crucial moment.
Which leads to that really intense phone argument with Carol. That's a clear point of conflict.
And it maybe gives some context, even justification perhaps, for Carol's later actions, though Philip doesn't see it that way at the time.
No, he doesn't connect those dots.
It just adds layers, doesn't it? Cause and effect in relationships are rarely straightforward. It's almost never just one person's fault.
Okay, fast forward to London. The proposal scene.
Oh, that scene. He flies over, he's got the champagne.
Expecting this big romantic reunion.
But Carol's just off, quiet, withdrawn, doesn't touch the champagne.
And then he proposes, partly out of hope, maybe partly like annoyed at her coolness.
Seems like it, and she just leaves wordlessly.
Which in his memory must have just cemented her as the cold one, the one who hurt him.
And it's right there in that memory reconstruction that the guide drops the bombshell.
The big one.
Carol was pregnant with Kelly, and it was from a one-night stand.
After Philip cheated.
Yes, and she'd written him a letter explaining everything.
But he never saw it. He finds it later, in the present day, but back then.
Back then, after she walked out, he was drunk, angry, hurt. He never opened it, tossed it aside.
That's the absolute gut punch of the episode, isn't it?
Completely. All that resentment he carried for years.
Decades, maybe.
Decades, yeah. Based on not knowing the full story.
And the letter itself, when he finally reads it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't this cold dismissal he imagined?
No. She admitted the one-night stand happened out of anger about Emma. Hurt, reacting to hurt.
And she actually invited him to meet her after her performance that night. Said she'd understand if he didn't want to, but the offer was there.
And he never knew. He never went.
Oh, man. Just the waste.
That's the real tragedy here, isn't it? That chance for understanding maybe a different path was just lost.
Because of anger. Because he couldn't see past his own hurt in that moment.
It shows how easily misunderstandings can just harden into years of misplaced bitterness.
So the big takeaway then has to be about perspective, right?
Yeah.
How our own viewpoint shapes everything.
Definitely. Philip spent all that time seeing Carol through this lens of his own pain and betrayal.
He built this whole narrative where he was the wronged party.
And the eulogy tech, the guide, forces him to confront that maybe, just maybe, his narrative wasn't the whole truth, that it was skewed.
And think of all the energy he wasted on that anger based on, well, an incomplete picture.
It's just heartbreaking that he never got her side of the story while she was alive, that unopened letter.
Holding the key.
Holding the key to a totally different understanding. Maybe not a happy ending, necessarily, but understanding.
Charlie Brooker apparently said something about Philip realizing he'd made her into a villain in his head.
That nails it. We do that, don't we? Simplify people, especially in conflict. Cast them in these roles.
Easier than dealing with the messy reality.
Yeah, easier than seeing their humanity, their own pain, their own mistakes.
And the tech itself, the eulogy system, it's such a fascinating, slightly creepy Black Mirror idea.
Oh, yeah. That potential for it to be misused, the funeral scene hints at that too. But here it's used for this unique kind of grief processing, memory exploration.
It definitely has echoes of the entire history of you, that idea of re-examining the past through tech.
But maybe with a bit more potential for healing, or at least understanding.
The ending's so bittersweet, though. That funeral scene.
It is. Philip's there, he's listening to her cello music.
And he can finally picture her face again. Properly remember her.
Which is huge for him, a release. But it's layered with such sadness, isn't it? All that lost time.
Yeah. And that look he shares with Kelly at the end. Silent.
So much in that look. Was it recognition? Did the guide, bridge something between them?
Or is it just him seeing Carol and her daughter? We don't really know.
Giamatti sells that moment completely. You see the understanding dawning, but also the weight of regret. It speaks volumes about how these relationships echo through our lives.
Yeah, so ultimately, eulogy just digs into these really big human things, doesn't it? Love, death, heartbreak.
Moving on or not moving on, that feeling of wasted time, wasted emotion because you didn't have the full picture.
It makes you think, how often do we operate on incomplete stories in our own lives?
All the time, probably. And it just hammers home the power of perspective. If you can just step outside your own viewpoint for a second.
See things differently.
It can change everything, even how you understand your own past.
It makes me think about what Brooker said about his inspiration watching the Beatles Get Back.
Ah, right. Seeing them through that old footage.
Yeah, and the quality of those old, imperfect photos and videos from before smartphones. They feel different. More precious, maybe.
Because they weren't curated for Instagram. They just are. Flaws and all.
Exactly. So what does that mean for us now? With everything hyper-documented,
Right.
How will we remember? How will we grieve?
That's the lingering question, isn't it? What kinds of artifacts are we creating now? And how might future tech, maybe even something like eulogy, reshape how we look back on our lives and the people we've lost?
A lot to think about there. Definitely a powerful episode.